One thing that I decided a couple years ago was that I was going to go all in on everything I want. That means going all in on me. It goes all in on my health, going all in on fashion and beauty. It was really, really challenging to do, but when I commit to something now, I get it done. This all in energy is very, very powerful. And I think a lot of people waver on that because of fear, worry, or doubt that kind of sits in the consciousness. What if you made the decision today that you're going to go all in on everything you want and go for it?
For people who are especially in relationship conversations, when you're talking about manifesting, I can manifest anything that I believe. It's me manifesting it. But when you start talking about another actual human, that's when it starts to feel a little bit gray, because I can actually see this person as, oh, they're so attentive, they do this and they do that. And then I'm sitting there looking like, I clearly see the trash is right there, not taken out. Oh my God, thank you, baby, for taking out the trash. I'm like, am I crazy? Am I delusional?
Relationships are not just manifested, they're built. I truly believe that we can influence people positively. But if somebody chooses not to grow and you want to grow, the most important thing you can do is to choose yourself.
So outside of normal things like, you know, the money we want to make for the year, whatever, what's your non-financial biggest manifestation hope for 2025?
For 2025, for me, it's about embodying a level of inner sense of security that I've never experienced before in my life. So I'm pretty secure, pretty confident, pretty passionate, believe in myself, love myself. But what I've noticed is just some opportunities where moments I'll feel insecure. And it's not necessarily about who I am or anything, but just something in the outside world isn't necessarily validating me like I'm used to maybe. And I feel a little bit of sense of insecurity. So for me, it's about this year feeling so secure in everything that I do. And that just comes from noticing my reactions to life, noticing those moments where the insecurity happens, and then asking myself, how can I shift this belief? What is the assumption to change it? Because it's not about changing the outside world.
Right, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
So that feels like a lot of work.
You know, and then, you know, why would I want to have that that inner sense of security is because I want my human experience to be the best. And so I've shifted so many things. I have so much calmness and peace and joy and love and gratitude and all those things. But this secure in myself piece feels like the next thing that's just gonna give me.
But do you think like with each level, so I look at this now like a video game, right? So I've mastered level 1, you go to 2. Now you're at level like 100. But level 101, that's a new level. So there may be an insecurity that we're always having to like, I see you peeking your head out. Let me look at that. Then level 200 is a very different one. So I don't know if there's ever a level where all of them are done, right?
There's not like game over. There's not like you've reached the top of the mountain and it never goes. Like there is infinite numbers of levels of experiences. So even the abundance, the gratitude, the joy, the love, the levels that we feel today, even though they might feel like I feel the most love I've ever felt in my life today. Like it is the most I could ever feel. No. Wrong answer. Like there's another level and another and another. And so what this human experience really is about the God essence in you, it experiencing itself more fully. And so the more safety, security, self-love, peace, joy I can feel, the higher I am connecting to that God essence. So there's no top. There's no
My creative director always says, today's ceiling is tomorrow's floor. So, you know, like you think you're like, whoa, I got here. And then it's like, oh, I want more. And I think that is you know, I get asked all the time, like, when do you just feel content? When is it like, okay, I've gotten it and I'm good? And for my answer is, I'm always content, but I always desire to experience and expand even more because I'm allowed to. If it was like a level and you're done, you'd get there and that thing within you that wants to expand would just you wouldn't feel it. And I constantly feel the need to like grow in some area, experience something or try something that I didn't think I would try last year. And I think that is a part of the human experience.
That's our nature. It's our nature to grow and expand. And so if you actually look at energy, for example, Bob used to say all the time, energy is for fuller expression and expansion. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? But I get it now. Yeah. It's because our nature is to forever grow and expand and to do better and to innovate and to create and to expand. And if you look at, and this is my own personal experience, the times in my life where I have been the saddest, where I've been the most unfulfilled, are the times when I don't think I'm growing.
Yes.
So when we don't think we're growing, that's when we start to feel bad, start to go into that state. And that's where I do think a lot of depression comes from, a lot of anxiety comes from, the feeling that you're not expanding. Yeah. And that's just a story.
Yeah.
You choose to decide that you're expanding, and then that's what your reality will be.
How do you gauge it though? Like if you wanted to measure your growth, what would you use?
It's an internal metric. It's a feeling. People always want to say like, okay, but how do I know that I've grown? How do I know that I've expanded? How do I know that I've manifested everything that I want? It's self-defined.
Yeah.
Like you get to decide what growth looks like to you. You get to decide if you've grown. You get to decide like if you're in the gap or the gain of your growth. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm always telling a story that I am becoming more aware. I am growing. I'm doing the work. The moment that you decide in your mind that growth has stopped, you're now stopping all growth.
Right.
So I would never tell myself that story. And even if the outside world tells you that the manifestation isn't here, there's underlying beliefs that precede that manifestation. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is go in and go, well, have I changed my beliefs? And do I feel better today? Do I feel more empowered today? Do I have a greater sense of certainty and knowing that the manifestation is coming? If the answer to that is no, you haven't grown, you haven't changed, right?
So or not enough to manifest the thing that you're waiting to see.
In your belief always precedes manifestation. So people are always looking for the manifestation to happen so they can confirm the belief has changed.
I ask people this all the time. What do you think comes first, the $1 million or the belief that you're the belief or the money? And they kind of look stuck. It's like the chicken or the egg, and it's like you cannot manifest. Even if you win Powerball, on some level you believe that you would. Like, it's not just gonna, even like if you say, well, I was just lucky. So if 97% of this is this, the thinking, the belief, the knowing, why do you think most people spend 97% of their time doing the muscle work, 3% trying to change their beliefs, and then get frustrated when they're not seeing the manifestations fast enough?
Because it's what we were taught. So we literally went to school and were taught that the outside world matters. We are taught about our 5 senses and how to interpret your world and behave in that world according to what society told us. We were taught that what other people think of you matters. We were taught all this stuff that isn't truth. And so everybody is still living according to a truth that is not real.
Right.
And so when you come from faith, the unseen, the knowing, and you start to believe in something before you observe it, you then observe it afterwards. Mm-hmm. So I would love to go into schools, and I would love to be like, hey, let's teach people what the 5 senses are, and then let's teach them about all the other senses, that all the things that are happening and all the ways in which life
get them in kindergarten. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Before it starts.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And teach, it is about teaching new things. Yeah. And rewiring. And it's a box, right? Like we are taught according to live into this box. Mm-hmm. And so the people that expand past out of that box and do extraordinary things are the ones that are willing to say, no, that's not me.
Right.
Like all the rags and riches stories that we hear, they're in a society, living in a community, usually in poverty consciousness. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is included in having the same beliefs, but they're the one that says, no, not me. I'm moving to LA. I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to... Right? Yep, and so you choose to leave the box that you were taught.
Now, I got asked this question yesterday during an interview. What do you think it is that allows that one person in that entire community to have that spark that says, this won't be my story? Because when people ask me that, I just say, I was always like that. I remember when I was 5 years old, I don't know. I mean, and I don't want to be like, I got a little more than you got. I got a little extra from source, but I know that's not it. But what is it that it's a whole community of people who choose to follow a certain path, and this one outlier that's just like, this ain't going in the way that I want? Why does not more people have that same pull.
Yeah. I don't think it's, I'm with you on, I don't think there's a magical power. I don't think there's anything different. We are all one, and we are all made up of the same source energy. We're all made of the same God essence that flows through us. So there isn't anything in our innate abilities that make a difference, but there is a difference in our belief systems. And so somewhere along your life, you learned a lesson that you're different, and it's okay to be different, and you're going to be bold. And I think I learned it, but I didn't learn it till later. I didn't learn it till 37. I stayed the course and was just like the masses until 37, when I went, hold on a minute, it's all about beliefs, and I could just change them. Yeah. And so at 37 was when I said, no, I'm an outlier. I'm going to be different. But I think you learned it somewhere along the line as a child, maybe from someone or from an experience. It could have even been a coping mechanism, where your coping mechanism was to be like, no, I'm not like them. I'm different. And that led to it. So I think it has a lot to do with experience, patterning, and programming. But the good news about that is that you can program that into yourself at any time.
Yeah.
So no matter how old you are, you can decide effective immediately. This is language I've been using. Effective immediately. I'm an outlier. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking outside of the box. I'm going to be different. I'm going to be bolder. I'm going to be more daring. And I'm going to be an action taker today. I'm going to be courageous.
Yeah, I'm going to move quickly. I'm not going to let my mind start thinking about all the ways it's going to fail. I'm going to act right now.
Yeah.
That's my new one. Like, opportunity presents itself, whatever it may be, in the first 3 seconds, I'm going to act. Because I know that if I allow it to not happen quickly, I can still get there, but now I got to go through this process of, am I moving in fear? Am I moving in faith? I'm going to move. If it feels good and I like the way it lands, boom, I'm going to take action.
Yeah. And because you'll convince yourself not to do it. If you wait past the 3 seconds, you then go into the intellectual mind. So the intellectual mind says, well, we're going to weigh the pros versus the cons. Yeah. But intuition just says, go do this.
Go do it.
And you just go do it.
Go do it.
The other thing that I was going to say too about this like outlier energy type of thing too, one thing that I decided a couple years ago was that I was going to go all in on everything I want. Yeah. Not dip my toe in the pool, but I'm going to go all in. And so that means going all in on me. It goes all in on my health, going all in on like fashion and beauty. I'm going to go all in.
Yeah, because you did a little marathon or something when you was in that all in energy, didn't you?
I'm still in the all in energy, and I'm still running 4 days a week for an hour. Yeah, I did a 10.
No, one that I saw you cross the, you crossed the finish line.
Yeah, I did a 10K race last year, which was, it was really, really challenging to do. But when I commit to something now, this is my new belief that I've programmed in myself, is I get it done. I'm disciplined and I follow through and I commit to myself. But this all-in energy is very, very powerful. And I think a lot of people waver on that because of fear, worry, or doubt that kind of sits in the consciousness. What if you made the decision today that you're going to go all in on everything you want and go for it? I go for it boldly. And so do you. And that's one thing
I'm doing a Spartan in November.
What is that? What is a Spartan?
It's like an Iron Woman. Yeah, it's obstacles, it's all the crazy stuff. And it's not that I really just want to do it, but it's one of those things that I said, my trainer asked me about doing a Spartan, and I said, okay, then all the stuff. And I was like, nope, 3 seconds. I said, okay, we're doing it. And then I was like, oh, shoot.
The woman you'll grow into by doing the Spartan is going to be powerful.
Like, and it's just about making up. So I make commitments to myself, and I will not break them. And if you wonder, if you're in a scenario right now where people break commitments to you, where people say one thing and they do another, where they don't show up like they said they would, what that was happening to me. And it was kind of, I would help people, loan people money. I would help invest in their businesses, and they'd be all for it. And then all of a sudden they'd flake out and then change their number, not pay back, whatever the case may be. Then I started saying, where am I like that with myself? Yes. Where do I don't make commitments with myself?
Everything's a reflection.
And that was so, I mean, you're the first person who kind of start talking about that, where whatever you are seeing in your 3D world, it's how you're showing up like for yourself. It's a mirror. Yeah. And it at first kind of pissed me off. I was like, I don't do people that way. If I do this, and I started saying, but where do I say that I'm going to do something and I don't do it for myself? So of course that is this. And so I started kind of tightening that up. If I say I'm going to work out, if I say I'm going to drink a certain amount of water, if I say I'm going to, just whatever it is, little things that you let slide. And now I've gotten it to a point where the only people that are even in my orbit are people who make commitments and keep them. Because that's what I do. So that's so super important.
Yeah, the reflection piece is really important. And a lot of people, I do piss people off with this one several times, but it is truth. And every single thing that you're observing in your life, you're observing it through your own consciousness, through your own lens of who you are. So even who I believe you are, Nekeya, is filtered through my consciousness.
Yep.
Right? And so how you see me is filtered through yours. And so what we have to do is we have to notice if there's things about you that piss me off, I'm going to go, what about me is pissing me off? And if there's things about you that I'm like super, super inspired by, I'm going to go, oh, those things must be in me as well. It's for the good and for the triggers and the reactions. But I never ask, how can I fix this person to get them to be more like how I want them to? I always go within and I say, okay, where am I reflecting this belief, this expectation, this assumption, and where is it sitting in me right now? And so how can I, like if for example, you don't trust people, where don't you trust yourself?
For real, yeah.
Right? So little things like that.
So how do you explain when people say, 2025, I'm setting boundaries and I'm cutting off toxic people? The first thing that hits my mind is the toxic traits that you see in other people. If this is true, what you're saying, what we're talking about, then there's somewhere within you that toxicity exists. So you can create all these boundaries and you can cut off all of these people, but until you kind of go inward and figure out, where am I showing up that way, you're only going to still bring that into your kind of orbit with the people who are around you. Like, how can it not be that way? Unless you're going to be like an island to yourself. How do you speak on people who you really think are toxic and come into your life and bring no value, and you are mirroring that because that is something that's also operating within you? Like, where is there a line in that? Or
well,
is there?
It could be that what's actually operating in you is the pattern and the program of these types of relationships in your life. So for example, if you're like somebody who is single and you're, all the men that you find that you are dating treat you in a certain way. It's not necessarily that you treat people in the way that these men treat people, but it's that you are conditioned, patterned, and programmed to be comfortable being treated that way. And so you have to break the pattern. You have to break the cycle. So remove the men from your life that aren't treating you well, but then never again allow a man into your life that doesn't treat you well. Like, you have to then treat you really, really well. Self-validate, love yourself, actually get to the place where you don't need that relationship in your life, where it's a preference, not a requirement. And then the next man that comes into your life, if he starts to treat you unwell and in a bad way, you say, no, we don't do that anymore here. And you move forward. But just removing the toxic people from your life doesn't solve the underlying issue. There's an underlying issue. And it's the same with like family dynamics and conflict. You say you want a relationship where there's no fighting, but then you get into a relationship with a man who loves to fight. Well, you're comfortable in that place where fighting, maybe you don't like it, but you're comfortable there.
Right.
So it's going to be hard for you to let like a nice, calm, relaxed man in your life who treats you like a queen. You're going to start
when
fights.
Love means that, like, I got to hear a couple plates break. That's love, So So you kind of
so you're going to have to settle into the idea of allowing safe love to be in your life.
How would somebody who's watching this, who says, well, that just hit the nail on the head for me because I keep, manifesting these different types of people, they're like the same person. How do I find out what the root cause within me is, and how do I change that belief in an instant? I mean, I see you two up here talking about, I can just make up my mind in an instant, but I've grown up in an environment where for generations, I've seen this being, how love or relationships operate. Aunts, sisters, cousins, mom, dad, whoever. How do these roots feel like oak tree roots, like they go wide. Like, how do I do that if I want to be in a healthy place in a relationship?
It truly is a process of self-discovery and transformation. So it's not just about changing a couple beliefs. It's actually going to be going within and really understanding who you are, self-awareness, reflection, introspection, noticing all the things that happen in your life that you don't love. So what are the things you complain about the most? What are the things that piss you off the most? What are you crying about the most? And going within and asking, where do those patterns and those programs come from, and rewriting it. But first, it's going to be rewriting the identity. to come from an empowered place, then it's going to be rewriting the beliefs. So if you grew up in a relationship where your mom and dad fought all the time, and now you're in relationships where fighting is norm, and then you actually don't want that, you have to say, well, what kind of love do I want then? Mm-hmm. And then pattern and program in a safe and secure, loving environment into your life, and then not let anything in that doesn't match. So it is going to be a rewriting and a reprogramming process over time. But once you know what that new belief is, I always say the way in which I embody a new belief in an instant is to actually make a decision from the new belief. So the moment you call in the man and he wants to fight, you got to walk away like that. Like, you cannot give him another chance. Like, you got to be like, no, it's showing up. I'm aware of it. I see it, and make a move, and don't let it stay. But when you let it stay, you let the pattern live on. And so you have to say no to it.
So what about people who like, Kathleen, but I've been married to this person for 20 years. Like, he's not changing, but my new identity has changed. Like, am I giving him grace? Do I wait? Like, what are you, like, how are you? Because I'm seeing a lot of women, because I'm 47. Yep. And so the women that are kind of coming into my circle they're over 40. And it's this belief that, girl, who want to be out here 50 dating? I might as well just stay in he ain't that bad. I might as well just stay in this. Like, what does that say? Because if energy is energy and it's everything, yep, you're not just staying in that box. You're not in like a little silo. That energy is in like all of the boxes. Like, how does that work?
Yeah. I think there's two choices. You can manifest the man that you desire in your husband and stay in the marriage, or you can manifest a new husband and leave that marriage.
So I can manifest the man I desire in this man, yes, but he don't want to be that man.
And you've been doing it.
I mean, I'm just doing this.
Yes.
I'm doing this for the video.
No, I know.
Yes. Mine is.
Yes. Yes. So you have to make a decision that you're choosing to stay in the marriage, and you're going to choose to see the man in the way that you want to see the man. I always have people do this exercise, these 3 questions. There's beliefs that you have about this man. And the beliefs that you have about this man are influencing the way that you show up and behave with him, which just keep him being the man that you believe he is.
That's how you see him. Yes. You're seeing him like that.
Yes.
So even if he's making little adjustments, if you see him as
won't see it.
The lazy guy who never takes out the trash, you don't even notice when the trash has been taken out.
Yes.
Okay.
Us women, we love to complain about our husbands. The thing of it is that the more that you complain about certain things about your husband, the more that you're giving that source energy, that breath of life to that experience, mm-hmm, the more you'll see it. And it's the reticular activating system in your brain. So your brain will literally find what you believe to be true. And anything that you don't believe to be truth, your mind won't even see it. So when he is nice and he is kind and he is loving and supportive, your mind doesn't even see it. It's like it never even happened. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, essentially. So if you are going to make the decision to stay and you would like to experience a different scenario with your husband, I would ask yourself these questions, 3 questions. How do I currently see my spouse? And journal that all out. What is the story? How does he or she limit you? What are the ways in which you complain about them? What don't you like about them? Write it all out. Mm-hmm. Then the second list is you're going to write out all the reasons why you are grateful for that person and all the things that they do for you. Write that all out. Do you see the dichotomy here?
What if it ain't but one thing on there and 18 things?
There's going to be.
Okay.
There's going to be.
One thing?
Well,
I mean, like if the list is not balanced. Yeah.
There's lots of things for you to be grateful. You'll find them. If you can't find anything to be grateful for in that relationship,
don't even worry about the third thing you finna say.
But yeah, so go into what are you grateful for? Even if it's, you can get in the car today and go get your nails done and he stays home with the kids. Like, even if it's something like that. Like, all the little things, find all the things that you're grateful for. And then the third list is to write out how you'd like to see them.
Okay.
And then the how you'd like to see them list is the most important list, because this is where creation starts. And so with these 3 lists, what you will see is perspective. You will see and look at, well, is it really true? After you do the gratitude list, you go back and you look at the way you see them and you think, oh, wow, is that really true? You'll start to become aware of the limitations within your own thinking. And then when you compare the way you want to see them with how you do see them, you'll see that there's an opportunity there for you to see differently. And once you start to reread this, how do I want to see them? Practice seeing that. Practice paying attention to that. And what you will find is your mind will start to find those things. It will find the ways in which they are loving and caring and supportive and kind and all of those types of things. And so then I would go into it with a commitment that you're going to now see this person this way, and you're going to treat them like they're that way. Don't treat them like the first list. treat them like the third list. One of the things that I want to do, and I've made a commitment, is just I want to be the best ex-wife I possibly can. And I don't call myself that. That's not language Chris and I ever use. But I'm saying that so you understand what I'm saying. And so my goal is to treat him with absolute respect and with love and with compassion, and treat him how I want to see him, as this powerful, incredible man. And now that I do see him that way, now I show up as the best ex-wife possible. Our relationship is flourishing. No, we're not in a relationship anymore. That didn't work for us. Now we've separated, but it's actually, we've come together to have a relationship with each other that transcends what we've ever had. It's better than anything that we have ever had. And he would say the same thing. So I don't think it's about choosing divorce. I don't think it's about choosing to stay. I think you get to decide which one you want to play around with, and you'll decide what works best for you. But you got to change it. So
did you do the 3 lists with Chris?
I did.
But you still went back to the first one because you were divorcing him.
Yeah. No, our relationship has transitioned into a better relationship than it ever was. But we didn't separate because we weren't doing things right, or he wasn't a good man or anything like that. It's just, we've realized that in life, we want 2 totally different things.
Okay.
And we want to experience totally different things in our lives. And we were trying to go down this one path together where we didn't want to be on the same path. So now we're both on separate paths, but still together. Different roads, but
so not even to make it about like you and Chris, but like if I can manifest into my husband how I want to see him, why couldn't you just manifest y'all being on the same path? Like why?
Well, because he has free will to choose.
Right,
choice,
that's what I was kind of trying to get to. Yeah.
He has free will and choice to choose what kind of life he wants to have. And through greater understanding is where we realize that we want to be on 2 different paths, right? And so when we didn't really talk about it, like in 2022, when we decided to separate, I asked him a question to open the door to this conversation. I said, what do you want? What is your ideal marriage? We'd been together 17 years and we'd never asked each other that. Never talked about what our ideal marriage was. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Like,
because who want to talk about that if the person don't think they living up to it? Like, well, I want to hear that.
I don't even think we even considered talking about it. It was just, we'll get married and it'll be what it'll be. But that's not creation, is it? So now I understand that, that conversation opened the door. So now we can see what is his ideal, and he can go and create that. What is my ideal? We can go and create that. And then we still have each other in our lives, in friendship, in business, and in co-parenting. And it's just better than it ever was. But it's self-awareness, but it's also understanding the other person and what they want and what they desire, and making a mutual choice on what that's going to look like.
So I've done list 1, and then I've done this middle list, and now I'm doing list 3, right? And so I'm really working hard to see this person, friend, husband, whatever, through list 3.
Yep.
But they showing up like list 1. So is it because I ain't seeing it right, or is that how they're behaving? Because I mean, if they got free will, they can show up like list 1, but am I seeing them at list 1 because I am choosing to see them that way? And I'm not focusing on what I wrote on like the 3rd column? Because I think the person who is really creating awareness and want a new consciousness, like they're going to start feeling like they're fucking crazy. At what point do you say, yeah, they a list 1-er. I'm out.
I think this exercise is an opportunity for you to gain clarity, to give your relationship a chance to flourish and to grow. And if you've done this exercise and you've held true to it and you've changed the way in which you see this person and you are still out of alignment, then that's an opportunity for you to make a new choice in your life, for sure. Especially if that person is completely unaware, doesn't want to grow, and you're growing and all that kind of stuff. There will come a time that you might have to walk away from something that no longer serves you.
And this can be jobs. This can be
anything
best
in life.
Friend.
Friendships. Yeah. What you're trying to do is you're trying to water a fake plant. And so there's a time where no matter how much water you give to this fake plant, it's never going to get bigger than it is because it's not real. And so, that's like a relationship analogy that I heard once from a coach. And like, it's really, really beautiful because you can water it, you can give it life. But the moment that you realize that it is a fake plant and it's not going anywhere, and that's the moment to walk away.
And the person gets to choose whether or not they want this awareness in this life. And
yes,
I mean, it's freeing, but it also gives you the opportunity to say, I can look at you, I can believe in you, I can motivate you, I can see all the things you're trying to accomplish for you. But if you're not taking action from a belief that you can also have it, that's the fake plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, good deal.
Yeah. And I like to call those things misalignment. I don't think that marriages, relationships have to end in conflict.
Right.
I don't think there has to be some big, huge argument or some big, huge fight. I actually think that they can end beautifully when you recognize that you're out of alignment and you're no longer in resonance with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just vibration and frequency. And so at one time in your life, you were in resonance. You were in vibrational frequency with one another. That's how you called each other in. But that doesn't mean we always stay that way. And so that's why relationships are not just manifested, they're built.
Right.
Right. And so it can get better when two people are willing to grow together.
So my final question for this would be, let's say you did call that person in. It was a time when they were an ideal match, because that's how you found them, right? What do you say to women who are men who are in the awareness, doing the work, working on the beliefs, manifesting stuff is feeling good, and this starts to feel like I'm outgrowing them?
Yep.
And they backslide or they slow down because I don't want to leave this familiar place. How does the ripple effect of that decision go across everything else that they're doing in their businesses? And how do they see that when they make that choice to kind of downplay themselves or shrink?
I truly have a belief that if I am growing and ascending and becoming better and improving and elevating, that I have an effect on other people. I think that mental transmutation, if my mental transmutation is strong enough, it'll influence other people's transmutation as well. Mm-hmm. So for example, like I have a lot of family members that don't study what I study. They're not in the work that I'm in. And I'm not trying to force them or drag them or pull them. I'm just being the light and being inspiring and being true to this work in hopes that one day they will come along for the ride with me, that maybe they'll read my book, or maybe they'll listen to a podcast, or maybe they'll read somebody else's book, that one day they'll come along for the ride. And so I just want to be that place of unconditional love that says, I'm going to love you no matter if you grow or not. I'm going to be here. It doesn't mean I necessarily stay in the relationship, but I'm still going to love you and I'm still going to support you if you ever need me. And so I truly believe that we can influence people positively. But if somebody chooses not to grow and you want to grow, the most important thing you can do is to choose yourself and your personal growth and development. And it will change them later. Chris didn't come on the personal growth and development journey until about 2.5 years after me. And that 2.5 years, that's where we got different and where the separation happened. Mm-hmm. He did his personal growth and development journey afterwards. And now we realize that he's the most empowered. He's a version of himself that he would not have been if I didn't say, okay, if I didn't continue to grow. We saw the gap for him to now ascend up. And so, I'm not his partner in life anymore in that way, but he has an opportunity to create whatever he wants in his life now. Mm-hmm. So I hope that answers it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't slow down and go back.
No, I would
never. Stay connected.
I would never. No, because this is my life. This is my human experience. We only have one. So why would you ever choose to let somebody else's inability to see possibility or potentiality limit you? So I always say no. And I remember when I launched my coaching business and I quit my nursing career, I was like, I'm gonna do something real big for our family right now, whether you're in or not. Mm-hmm. Watch me. I'm going to go change our lives. I'm going to go change our families' lives. And I just did it, whether or not I don't need your permission. I'd love your support, but if you're not willing to give it to me, that's okay. But I'll show you what I can do and how I can change our experience. Now, my entire family's life is completely different. It's completely changed because I chose to go out on an island and do something that not the average person wanted to do. And now it's becoming more norm and commonplace. But 5 years ago, people thought I was a lunatic, what I was talking about, right? Yeah. Now it's becoming more natural for people to speak in this way. Mm-hmm. But no, we can't let other people take us down or take us back. So notice those people in your life that try to pull you back down. What would you tell 2024 version?
2024, I think I tell 2024 Nekeya, the savage spiritualist, like, yes, bitch, we ain't going back. We will never go back, because 2024 was the year that it was just rest. I had $1 million months and I didn't even know what day it was, what time. I mean, I didn't do like it was whatever. Yeah. However, it was literally on faith. 2024 was the year that faith ruled, because I had no energy and no desire to do to make it be or will it to be. And so now that's the new norm. In 2026, I think for me, it's going to be big humanitarian efforts in this work. Yeah. Like, I mean, I see it. I mean, the disruptor, the status quo disruptor for people who have never been included, who have never been the target of the marketing spiel. Like, I'm going to create a space where marketing and ad and are going to say, we want the awake, aware, powerful, melanated woman in our midst. Like, it's going to mean something very different. Yeah. So, yeah, beautiful. I mean, all the things. And she might have a whole grill with some, like, I mean, I'm going to push the envelope of what you thought was elevated and ghetto. I'm going to marry him. Like, I'm going to make you accept.
That sounds like Savage Spiritualist right there.
Like all the things. Perfect. And so, but humanitarian and a larger, just kind of scale of all things. Like, whatever I dream up, I'm going to do. Like, I mean, it's crazy because I feel super happy and inspired and excited to just wake up and just be and do. Yeah. Like, in a place of creation is already finished. I'm waking up every day and I'm picking decisions that is pulling from a vending machine of life where my faith is. And so that's just kind of how I do. Is this fear or is this faith? And I try my best to move towards faith and just see what I'm going to call in. But I'm in a good place. Everything that I've endured, overcome, created, I would not change anything about my life. I have really learned how to adore everything I've ever endured. Yeah. So
that's beautiful. Yeah. I think for me, the 2025 version, what I would have said to 2024 is that your biggest blessings come from the biggest releases. That's what I learned in 2024. So those things that I released out of my life, they actually returned the biggest blessings almost like a ricochet, like almost immediately. So that's what I would say there. And then 2026, see, I'm already thinking from my 2026 version now. So I actually, like, the woman I am sitting here right now knows that 2025 is by far the biggest quantum leap I've ever experienced in my life. And so the 2026 version would say to stay the course and would say to think actually bigger than she's even thinking today, because the realization of it, it's already done. Yeah. I feel the exact same way as you. I actually feel no worry, no fear, no doubt. I just have this absolute certainty and calmness. And I actually won't engage in anything that doesn't match that. Yeah. So if anybody comes to me in an energy of anything that is not certainty or knowing of what is happening this year, next year, the next 10 years, I don't even want to entertain it. So nobody's coming to me with that type of stuff because that's not the truth. Yeah. No, it's not the truth. And so I'm just staying super, super elevated. And then the other piece as well is presence. So many people are living for the future. And I have just really, really learned to live in the present moment and let the present moment be the most beautiful thing that has ever existed, and to not wonder what it means or where it's going or what it could be or yada, 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 or make sense of it, just to experience the beauty of every moment as it comes in. And I see all the beauty in the world. You have to really try to convince me that people are not inherently good. Like, you got to really try to convince me that the world's a bad place, because I can't find it. I can't see it. So that's me, 2025 and 2026.